Welcome back to another episode of Size Previews. As always, I'm Luke Matthews, joined by Chris Spinn, so sit back, relax, and let's get into it. I was going to save these to last, but I just want to talk about them first, so we'll do it. And this is a shoe, and we say this a lot, but I'm so excited to actually be able to wear a pair of these, and it's a Handball Spezial, but obviously with that long tongue.
I think we've seen through Wales Bonner and things like that, the kind of long tongue trend coming through. I mean, it's obviously influenced by a lot of football boots from back in my day anyway. I'm not so sure about your days. Your days as well, I would say.
Yeah. A little bit.
And I think it gives it something completely different. We're going into a completely different space here with these shoes, completely different space. I mean, we know that, but we just wanted to do something different away from what we were kind of normally doing, and just play around with the shoe a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this time last year, people may have realised or recognised in the market there was a pack in Japan that launched, wasn't it?
Yeah,
there was three leather ones, and it's exact same shoe effectively from a tooling perspective, but we've applied some completely different materials. And I think in terms of this like workwear look on both, naturally, the more you wear them, the more they just sort of turn into this beautiful sort of patina on them.
It was a bit crazy when we kind of came up with the concept of putting these kind of workwear materials on there, and we weren't sure how it was going to come together, but when it come through, it was like straight away, bang on, straight. There was no question that we'd done the right thing, and like you said, the more and more you wear it, the better the shoe's going to get.
Yeah, and there's little elements as well, like taking the branding off the side, obviously completely different in terms of stealthing out certain bits, adding in certain bits as well. And naturally, like we said, it is now speaking to sort of 2 or 3 consumers at the same time.
Yeah.
Like we've seen a massive influx of people getting into this Tito product over the last few months.
Yeah, one of my favourite little details is the kind of classic Handball branding on the other side of the tongue there. But yeah, I mean, for us, it's a bit of a different space we've moved into here. But I mean, the product's great. It speaks for itself, doesn't it?
So next up, we've got the SL72, but it's a slightly different SL72.
Yeah, slightly different. I mean, you may have seen recently that we've got almost a remastered version that's kind of entered the world. It's kind of slightly chunkier. I would say easier to wear.
Yeah, so typically the SL, in the bigger sizes especially, it's really slim from a tooling perspective. So on the bottom, on the outsole, you'll notice it comes in really small, and it just means that anything probably above a 6, it is quite slim. But this actually, if we want to say this is a new SL72, I actually don't know how many people would notice, because it's not massively different.
No, and it still looks great. Unless you're really into the kind of details of the shoes, you wouldn't really notice. The one thing about this one, it's more comfortable. I've worn SL72, and this shoe's, I know it's a bit of a boring thing to say, but it is definitely easier to wear, as in like more comfortable to wear, because that, like you said, that tooling was really slim, really narrow along the bottom as well. It was quite a difficult shoe to wear for a whole day.
Yeah.
Whereas this version, it's way better, it's more comfortable, and it still looks like the original shoe.
Yeah, totally. I think what's really nice about this as well is you get that whole Tito piece that obviously we're seeing right now, but it's on a completely different dynamic. So it's on a running shoe.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of almost an evolution from Tito into this more aggressive sort of what we'd still call low profile retro running space.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and what we've done with this one, we've kind of been influenced by some kind of vintage pictures we've seen of somebody playing football in a park. Can't mention any names. And we've kind of really brought them retro colours from that image to life on this shoe. And these shoes for me look like something that could, I know it's a remastered version and it didn't exist in 72, but these shoes look like, from a colourway perspective, they could have existed at that time.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Like we always try to do things that feel really credible, that could belong in a lineage of product and almost be plucked out at any time and it still feel relevant then and now. And I think for us, these could have easily been in that catalogue from 72.
100%.
So we're going to finish the episode with the next instalment of the Anthology series. We started with Malmo, and I think we've probably gone one better with this. I mean, this is Amsterdam.
We hinted towards these, didn't we, when we talked about the Malmo, and these, you are right, they've gone one better. I mean, the whole Malmo thing was amazing, let's be honest. All the kind of animations went with it, the whole storytelling. I think we got it bang on. The shoes were great as well. And it was tough to kind of top that, and it's going to be tough to top this, not hinting that there's another pack, but there's another pack coming at some point. But I think we have.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is kind of taking this whole like New Yorker style magazine where we split the city into chapters, and obviously I'm not going to tell you everything about these, but there's certain nods to certain elements of the city throughout. You'll see the same New Yorker style illustrations on the footbeds throughout, which we'll give you a little tease on, but not everything.
We don't want to go into the details yet. You kind of got to discover it as and when it kind of comes out into the market.
But what I think we would say, though, is there's like a really subtle nod to other things throughout these projects as well. Like, in terms of the collectors amongst us, the purists, we all know, like, some of these colours nod to certain things. Like, there's a rumour to say that looks quite like reverse Amsterdam.
Yeah, and that one kind of looks like a shoe that has been talked about for many years.
It's quite close to
about for many years.
It does, yeah.
It's also in Holland, yeah.
There's a few little nods to things from a purist perspective, and it's almost like part one will be this sort of purist attack, and part two is where we take it to a completely new space. And I mean, for me, these two are like taking shoes that are so iconic and reinterpreting them for today.
Yeah, and just moving it, like you said, into a completely different space. And we didn't want it to just sit on the Malmo pack. We did things like the laces, we like kind of took it into another space, but we've gone one further with this. I mean, tooling, I don't think we've ever kind of executed that tooling on anything we've done.
No.
Definitely not in the last few years anyway.
No, and I mean, this is going to be the art chapter. I mean, we'll leave it for everyone to interpret. It's quite a generic palette of art that people can interpret in any way, but maybe it sort of nods to something more specifically than others, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, this one kind of speaks for itself. We're talking Amsterdam, and it's red.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd love to know in the comments what people think that this is inspired by from an art perspective. But, I mean, the colours itself, in theory, shouldn't work. But for me, you could argue it could be the best of the four.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think, like you said, we can't really say fully what it's inspired by, but it'd be good to see what the guys are thinking. I'm trying to think of a hint, but I don't really think I can give one, because once you give a hint, you've done it now.
Yeah, no, we don't need any hints. I think people will sort of get it. But I think from our side, obviously, we've had Malmo, we've gone to Amsterdam. It's a series that we're really enjoying working on because it kind of gives us that sort of chance to speak to so many different people at the same time. It's been amazing to see people wear Malmo.
Yeah.
Because every single person you see is wearing it completely different. We've got the options of the 3 laces in there. Some people are wearing it sort of traditional. Some people are wearing it quite contemporary. It's just been amazing to see how people start to interpret this as well now.
It's for me, it's how these packs kind of go into a whole other world of consumers. I mean, consumers is a very kind of internal word, but there's different people wearing them other than the traditional guys who love terrace footwear. I mean, it's completely gone into that whole younger world, really.
Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel and you can keep up to date with everything else we've got coming on. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.